All right, so I got to start off with a story I heard, right? So I heard about this whole carload of elderly ladies that were going down the highway, and they got pulled over by the highway patrol. And as the officer went up to the window, knocked on the window, and she rolled down her window, and he looked at her and he said, "Ma'am," he said, "do you understand why I pulled you over?" And she said, "No, officer, I really have no idea." And he said, "Well, you were going like way under the speed limit." And she said, "Well, I wasn't going under the speed limit." She said, "I was going right on the speed limit." He said, "No, you were going quite a bit slower." And she said, "I was going 35 miles an hour, and that's what the sign says." And he said, "Oh," he said, "No, ma'am." He said, "That wasn't the speed limit sign." He said, "That's the highway you're on. You're on Interstate I-35. And she kind of chuckled and she said, "Oh." And then he looked around at all the other ladies, and they were sitting there just white as a ghost, and they looked like they were scared to death. And he said, "Ma'am, could you tell me?" He said, "What's going on with these other ladies? How come they look so scared?" And she said, "Well, we just got off a Blacktop 118. Come on, that's kind of funny, right? Come on, can you imagine doing that? Hey, we got to laugh, lighten up and live, right? Lighten up and have a good time. You got to enjoy your life. You got to laugh things off a little bit. You got to make light at things and just have a little fun in life. So, just to kind of keep this whole positive vibe going, because that's the whole reason we're meeting here. Honestly, we're not trying to meet to just waste everybody's time. We're trying to meet just because I believe that communication is a good thing. I think is keep talking about things, keep talking about being positive, and keep talking about things being out there. Then I think that that's the culture that'll happen. It's not just going to happen just by simply just happening. So we got to be focused on that. So kind of in the spirit of that, we haven't done this for a while since we've just now started meeting again, but I want us to just maybe share some positive things that you see in your workplace and something that maybe you're just thankful for working at Woody's Automotive. So I really want even people that maybe hasn't shared for a little while or maybe have never shared before, don't be shy, and let's just throw some things out. Anybody want to start us off?
Playfulness.
What is it?
Playfulness, kind of like that.
Yeah, okay, very good. What else?
Working with positive people.
Working with positive people. And you're a new guy, right? And you've been here for how long? About 2 months?
6 weeks.
And so do you see a good atmosphere here? Good, fantastic. I like to hear that. So what else? Who else?
Dedication to learning.
Dedication to learning?
Robert's done a really good job for his, he hasn't been here much longer than Scott. He's learned a lot. He's helped out when I couldn't be here.
Fantastic. That's what it takes, each other being dedicated to that, stepping up as a team, right? I love to hear things like that. So what else? What are some other thoughts?
The little things, even though no matter what's going on with you, the little things helping out somebody else.
The little things, helping other people out.
Even if you're mad at someone or something like that, but then you're backing out a car or something, you're like, all right, come on, even though you can just stand away and not help, or if you're walking through the shop or walking through up front, you see something and you give a quick hand, open the door.
Yep. And Tim, I think that's a home run worth what you just said right there. I think life is a whole bunch of little things. Being good to people in just little ways. It's not just giving somebody something big to try to impress them. It's just the little things like that, day in, day out, that makes things so much better. What else? Anybody else got anything?
The culture.
Who said that? The culture?
To me, this is more like a family than a workplace. I've never worked at a place that's been this well together. The biggest thing that hit home with me, and I told you and Corey and Mitchell a lot, with my fiance having a baby, everybody was checking up on us. To me, that's amazing. I've never been in a place that cared that much.
I second that.
Love that. Family culture atmosphere.
Motion
Yep.
carried.
Yep. Awesome. That's good stuff. What else? What else does anybody else see? Anybody else? Those are good thoughts. Guys, I love that. For a positive culture to continue and to maintain and to keep it, we have to protect it, right? We have to protect it. We have to constantly be thinking about the things. Guys, I believe that there's something that's negative goes on every single day in every single job, whatever anybody could do in their life. Like I said last week, it's hard to have one perfect day. So, we can focus on all the little negative things and it can absolutely drive you crazy, or you can focus on the positive things and all the many blessings that it is to be a part of here. And I'm not asking everybody, and we're not asking everybody to put like rose-colored glasses on to just act like things don't exist, put your fingers in your ears saying blah, 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 I don't want to hear, any negative stuff. I'm not saying that at all. Things are going to happen and we're going to have to talk through some things, but I also believe there's a positive way to talk through things. I honestly am somebody that believes that conflict is okay as long as conflict's handled right. It's conflict that allows people to communicate, to work out the difficulties, to work out things, to be able to solve the issues that you're going through. So, even though you might have some things, we just need to do it in the right way. So,
I'm gonna
yeah,
piggyback
go ahead.
with you. That's just a compliment to you guys. You're talking about, you can have a good working place, you can have people helping each other out, it can be the best place you ever worked at, and it can be where there's no negative people, all these great things that everybody's talking about, but there's still going to be problems, whether it just be internet's not working at your desk, like the other day for you, Mindy, or just, be nothing with the people with you, but just transporter's not getting here, the mail's not getting delivered. I mean, all these external things that are created that are frustrating. And then you got two options. You can just sit there and throw a fit and come in and storm into your manager's office or my office and just start screaming and what are you talking about? Just because you're just the raw emotion of it, or which is 99% of what does take place here. It's usually a phone call or a text. Hey, do you got a minute? Or when you have a minute, can you holler at me? Whether it be with me or a different manager. And it's usually not only is it, hey, this is what happened, I don't have internet, or I got this problem, I got that problem. You mention it, but generally you even have a solution. You're like, what do you think of that? Would that work? You see any problem with that? Not. So you usually kind of have a solution to your own problem that you're having. You're just double checking to make sure it doesn't affect a different department. And so that's just pretty neat. And it's been years since I've ever seen to have this many people and it all be, I guess, just a problem fixed with calmness, with rational thinking, critical thinking, and just admitting, okay, here's the problem. What can we do to find a solution? And then working as a team to get that solution. So that's just pretty neat to see from.
No drama.
There you go.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Take everything I said. You just.
I was agreeing.
Hey, so, one of the things that I encourage you to do, because we're going to do this from time to time, is instead of coming in like looking for all the negative, look for things that your teammates are doing that's good. And so when we come here, let's do some bragging sessions every once in a while and say, hey, so-and-so did this and I saw this and it made my day. Because I think that's how we kind of stir each other up and encourage one another. So I encourage you to look for those good things. So today we're going to kind of go a different direction. I told you we're going to start something new. We're going to go through a book together. How many of you like going through books? Anybody like books? Anybody got a couple of book readers? How many of you like small books? How many of you like large books? Yeah, like picture books where they pop up and everything. How many, let me see a handful of hands. How many people read regularly? Read regularly. Okay. All right, so we got a handful of readers.
Talking about text messages?
Yeah, not text messages isn't included at all. So I tell you what, I hated reading. I never read one single book in high school. I was not a reader. I did not like reading. I would buy the Cliff Notes. I would try to find the movie. I'd do whatever it took to not read a book. And I never started reading books until I was 28 years old. That was 22 years ago. And after that, I fell in love with reading. And I decided that I didn't know it all, so I wanted to become a lifelong learner. Just somebody that could try to get some knowledge as much as I can. So, so I read probably anywhere from 20 to 30 books a year. And most of my books are books that'll help me grow spiritually or help me grow in wisdom, so I can take little things out of it, add it to my toolbox, and think about it as time goes by. So I read a lot of books. So one of the books that we're going to read is actually a short little book that was actually written by a local author. Anybody ever seen this book before?
Yes.
It's called 25 Truths. And this book was written by Ed Douglas. Anybody know Ed Douglas? Ed Douglas is a great guy, a great friend of mine. I love his family. One of his sons is one of my dear friends and one of my probably closest friends and encouragers, and he's a pastor at a church here in town. And so Ed's been around for a lot of years. Ed's actually the county commissioner now, and he retired as one of the CEOs of one of the local banks. He's responsible for helping getting the new high school, the new stadium. He's been responsible for kind of putting us on the map as home of the sliced bread. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, we're known across the world as home of the sliced bread. So, you know, he's done a lot of things in Chillicothe, and he's a very big advocate for Chillicothe. You know, he's a positive influence, and he always wants to do things positive in people's life. He's really involved in his church, and Ed's just an all-around great guy. But he's written a few books, and one of the books that he's written was 25 Truths, is what this is. And here's the really cool thing about this book is I got to read it before it even went to print. He gave me the manuscript several years ago, and he asked me if I would read it, and I absolutely loved it. So he asked me if I'd write an endorsement to it. So I'm actually on the front page of that book with a paragraph, and I think that's pretty cool. So I made it in a book, right? And so I'm excited about that. So since I'll probably never ever be in a book again, I'm going to read what I said about that book, okay? And this is what I put in that book, and this is what I said. I said, wow, what a great book. As an outreach pastor, I have counseled many people dealing with problems that have all been addressed in these 25 truths. We all could have avoided mistakes in our own lives if we had followed these truths consistently. Ed has done a great job using scripture, famous quotes, and his own personal stories to illustrate each truth. I believe this book is a must-read, whether you have it all together or your life is falling apart. We could all use the wisdom we'll gain from Ed if we begin applying it to our everyday lives. You know, I said that 12 to 13 years ago whenever this book came out. And as I've made my way back through this book again, reading it again, I'm telling you what, I still stand on those truths today. I still think they're a home run, and I still think no matter where you're at in your life, these are good principles to be able to add to your life. So with kind of that groundwork being laid, here's what we're going to do. Each week, we're just going to talk about one of these truths. Because I believe that these truths, no matter where you're at, they can make you a better person. They can help you in life and just become a better version of yourself. Who wants to be a better version of themselves? Or who's just content with the way you are right now and don't want to grow in your life? I don't want to be that way. I want to continue to grow. So we're going to talk about each one of these truths. And some of the things that I talk about, they might not necessarily be in the book. They might be me, so I don't want to misrepresent Ed. You know, in that, I say buy a copy for yourself if you want to know exactly what he said. But each one of these are, so we're just going to talk about it. And honestly, I want these to be kind of an open dialogue where we discuss these together as a group, because I think we grow more together as a group when each other hears each other speak and kind of talk about the things. So number one truth that we're going to cover today that Ed says, number one truth is protect your reputation. Everyone say reputation. Reputation. You ever think about your reputation? Is that ever a thought that even crosses your mind? When you get up and you go to work, when you go out through life, do you ever think about your reputation? Whether you got a good reputation, a bad reputation, whether I should protect my reputation, whether I should invest into it, whether I'm tearing it up or whatever. Do you ever think about that? Let me read to you the very first paragraph in the book. And this is what Ed said in the first paragraph. He says, your most important personal asset is your reputation, which is shaped over a lifetime by your actions and your words. Many people think that building and maintaining a good reputation is about doing things that will make people like you. That's simply not true. Instead, it's the result of doing what is right, good, and honorable in every situation. A good reputation takes a long time to build, but it can be destroyed in a minute by harmful actions or bad decisions. Therefore, it is extremely important to be careful considering the potential effect of everything you say and do. By doing what is right, you will not only build a good reputation, but you'll also feel better about yourself. So with this being said, I'm thinking about this. Okay, so Ed says that my reputation is my most important asset that I have. I was sitting there thinking about my assets that I have, and I don't probably have a whole lot of assets, but I am blessed, right? I think if we live in America, we're blessed compared to 95% of the rest of the world, right? And so, you know, I was thinking about that. So that means my reputation is more important than my house. My reputation is more important than my vehicles. My reputation's more important than all my stuff that I have, my toys that I own, my TVs, my whatever. You fill in the blank with your stuff. That means your reputation is more important. It's the greatest asset that you have, so you need to protect it. You know, I sat there thinking about that, and I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy. That's my most important asset. So let me ask you, have you ever thought about it that way before? Have you ever thought about your assets? Better watch how I'm saying all that, right? That your reputation is your most important asset. Do you believe that your reputation, now that you're kind of thinking about it, do you believe it could be your most important asset? Anybody?
I hadn't thought about it being most important, but definitely important.
So this is what I want to do, and I want to try to encourage everybody to talk just a little bit. Why do you think your reputation's a big deal? Anyone? I want to hear some people I haven't heard talk before. Why do you think your reputation's a big deal?
People are more likely to come to you if you're honest and straightforward.
Okay.
If you're not, and you just kind of wish-wash, they're not going to come to you.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else got any other thoughts on this? It's kind of a reflection of your character, right? It's kind of a reflection of your character. It's how other people view you. Sometimes perception's a reality, right? You might think you're the nicest guy in the world, but if you go around with a mean, ugly, bitter face on you all the time, everybody else might think something different, right? So it's how people perceive you. It's how people look at you. So it is kind of a big deal. So do you think having a good reputation is something that's developed overnight? Anyone? So you just get up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to have a good reputation today, and everybody needs to get on board with it, everybody across the world. It starts with that, right? You deciding that. But do you think it's developed overnight?
No.
Takes a while, doesn't it? It takes a while to just walk it out daily, putting one foot in the other, front of the other, doing the right stuff day by day. It's how you live. So what are some practices that we can do to implement protecting our reputation? What's some things that we can do?
Keep the integrity that's on the mission statement.
Okay, keep the integrity on the core value. Be honest. What are some other things that we can do to protect our integrity?
Always do the right thing.
Always do the right thing, right? No matter what. Well, what else? What are some other things we can do?
Surround yourself by positive people.
Surround yourself by positive people.
Find the positive and less negative.
Find the positive and the less negative. What are some other things?
To piggyback off what Jerry said of doing the right thing. So if you know no one's looking, would you still do it?
Right.
If you feel like it's sneaky in any way, it's probably not the right thing. Do you have to try to justify it and have a conversation? Probably not the right thing.
Yeah.
And you have your community reputation, you have reputation with coworkers, with your managers. Like I said, it's all kind of perception of what people have experienced with you. So also here with a good reputation, you get more empowered, you get more advancements, you get more trusted, just more opportunity.
So a lot of things we can do, right? We can respect others. We can be kind. We can do the right thing in every situation. We can be a hard worker. Don't you think all these things? So just allow your brain, even though you might not say it, think about those things throughout the day. What are some things that we can do to develop and to be able to protect our reputation and be a good person? So do you think you can destroy your reputation pretty quick? Yeah. So what do you think are some things that we can do that could damage our reputation?
Go rob a bank.
Go rob a bank. That's a really quick one, right? Yeah.
Get busted.
Yep.
Bad people.
But we could also steal from people in other ways too, right? Even though we might not go be bank robbers, I could cheat somebody out of something, right? I could. Somebody have $1 on their desk. I could take it. It wasn't mine. There's little things like that too. I can borrow stuff and not bring it back. That'll hurt somebody, right? I'm tired of loaning my stuff out to Brent because he never brings it back. I mean, it's just the little stuff like that. Who else was saying something else?
You like to.
Did you say lie? Yeah, be lied to. That can hurt your reputation. What are some other things?
Just always working the system, manipulating people, manipulating your bosses, manipulating your customers or coworkers. Just always kind of having an angle at everything. Just being, everybody's like, oh, what are they up to now?
Yeah. So working the system to better benefit yourself instead of taking care of others. That can hurt your reputation. I put some other things down. Gossip can hurt your reputation. Being late constantly can hurt your reputation too, right? Because we're paid to start a job, right? And at a certain time. So, being punctual is a good thing. I always figure if I'm on time, I'm late. I try to show up to everything just a few minutes early so I can make sure that I'm there and ready to go with whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. We can quit without a notice. I don't know how many people over the years that has come to me for jobs, and I go down through their stuff and find out that they quit all these places without even turning in a notice. And I usually tell people, you can benefit yourself greatly in your future if you start working out your notices, because if you quit these people, what are you going to do to us as well too? So, learning how to do that. You think social media can damage our witness? Or in our reputation and everything? I think that can hurt too. I don't think people think about what they post sometimes. Do you know, just being kind of in the whole team development and HR hiring side of things, do you know I try to Facebook stalk everybody that before I even bring them in for an interview? I could care less about social media, but I also believe you can learn a lot about somebody through social media, because if they're slandering everything all over their Facebook pages, then what are they going to do when it comes to here too? So I believe that all these things are things that people don't think about, and you need to as you go through life. These are good lessons for all of us to learn, no matter where you're at in life. So do you think that damaging your reputation could also hurt your future? I do think it could, right? It could make people, like I said, it could hurt you in your job furtherance. It could damage getting employment, and also it could just damage relationships too with other people. So what do you think are some benefits of having a good reputation? Being trusting, is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah. So being trusting, what are some other benefits that go along with a good reputation?
I think you can have a good self-esteem. You feel good about yourself.
Yeah. Feel good about yourself, just doing the right thing. Yeah. Anybody, what else? Anybody else? What are some other benefits of just having a good reputation?
And that's a good one. What you're saying is, do you like who you are? Do you feel good about yourself? That's usually a good indicator of.
It's a good place to start. You got to like who you are. So what else? Because hurting people hurt people usually, is what I've learned throughout life. So what are some other benefits of having a good reputation?
People take a chance on you. I was lucky that my parents and extended family had a good reputation, and so I was gone for 10 years and came home, and that reputation extended to me. I mean, I had a decent resume, but at the same time, oh, you're Bud's kid.
Yeah.
And it helps.
So there can be benefits to having that good reputation from that too. And people will have your back. If you have a good reputation. In the book here, Ed talks about a time in his life where he was misquoted in a newspaper when he was the president of the board at Northwest in Maryville. And he was misquoted, and he struggled with that. So he went to the president of the school and he said, "What do I do about it?" And this is what he wrote down in the book concerning that conversation. The president said that because he knew me and had no history of saying anything like that, what was quoted in the article, he had no doubt that I had been misquoted. When I asked him what I should do, he said he believed that in life we all build up credits, which he called chits. He said, based on how we live. Since I had a good reputation, I'd built up many chits. He said, therefore, all I had to do was cash in a chit, so to speak, and tell people that I had been misquoted. He said that because of my reputation, most of them would believe me, and that would be the end of it, which is exactly what happened. It's one of those things, you live right all the time, people are going to have your back. There was an instance several years ago in my own life when I was managing a restaurant where a $3,000 deposit came up missing, and it was on my shift. And we didn't find it until probably a month and a half later when our accountants were reconciling the bank statement. And so they looked on the schedule, they found out I was working, and they went to me and asked, what do I have to say about this? And I said, I have no idea. They said, did you drop this off at the bank? And I got off at 1:30 every morning, and I would always take it to the night deposit box. I said, I don't remember this specific day because it was so long ago, but I know my routine is to go drop it off every single night like clockwork. I said, I know I don't have it. And so the insurance got involved. They wanted to investigate me. The bank said I must have done something to it because it wasn't their fault. It was never turned in. I was stressing out. They wanted to put me through a lie detectors test. and see if I had taken the money or had done something with it. And the chief of the police at the time was Rick Samsel, and he was a good friend of mine, and he knew me and he knew my reputation, and he said, there is no way in the world Brent Reeder stole that money. And he said, I know him. He said, there's not a doubt in my mind there's something going on. So he said, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. He went up and he started looking at the drive-through and at the bank and the deposit box, and he said, is there any way this could have got lost in the deposit box? And they said, no way at all. And he said, can you open it up so I can look at it? And he started looking at the box and everything, and he put his hand up there and started filling around, and there was a ledge up at the top of that box, and that bank deposit had stopped and fell on that ledge, and it had rested there, and it had been there for over a month and a half, and it was just sitting right there. I am thankful that I had to cash in a chit, and because of my reputation, the chief of police had my back, and he didn't believe a word. That if he didn't believe that, then there's, it could have ended quite a bit differently. So a reputation is very valuable. So we're going to change for just a minute and go a different direction, and then we're going to finish up. So let's look at the business side of things. Who makes up Woody's Automotive? We do, right? We are. So we're only going to be as good as who we are, right? So as good as our reputation is, that's what Woody's is going to be as well too. So why do you think protecting the reputation of Woody's is important?
Because everyone reads online reviews and they want to know what the business they're dealing with, what their reputation is.
Absolutely. If you go and you see just 1 star or 0 stars and just one terrible thing after another, people's probably going to second guess coming here and buying, right? What are some other reasons to protect Woody's reputation?
Keep people coming back.
Keep people coming back? We could go right on down the list. A big one for me is that when you're hired, you represent Brent and Jill Klein. I mean, they're the owners here, right? They're saying, hey, I can't do everything, so I need help because I can't do this part. I can't do that part. So you're representing me. So we are their representatives. So, we want to be able to protect their reputation too and do things right. So there's a lot of things that go into that, why we should do that. So what are some of the things that we can do to make sure that Woody's remains having a good reputation? What are things that we can do? Anyone?
Don't complain to the people outside and don't complain to coworkers.
Very good. I think we can do that. We can get along. We can work hard. We can operate under our core values and our mission statements. So we can do things right. Just treat people right, right? So there's a lot of things we can do. I also believe there's a lot of things that we can do to damage it. We can gossip. We can talk. We can backbite. We can be lazy. There's just it goes on and on and on, the things that we can do to damage. And I believe, and we're going to wrap this up, what are the benefits if we protect Woody's reputation? What are the benefits to it? Anyone?
Secure employment.
Secure employment. Great place to work. Great atmosphere. A place people want to come to buy cars. Family atmosphere. Whatever. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The amazing benefits that we do, and it's our job to protect it, and it's our job to do it. So we're gonna close here and wrap this up. But I just want to leave with just a couple of quick thoughts as I do this. I was thinking about reputation and how we handle it sometimes, and it made me think of a couple different movies or TV programs that I've watched over the years. How many of you remember several years ago Ace Ventura: Pet Detective that came out? Remember that? And I haven't watched that for years, but I was thinking about this and I started laughing because in the opening scene, remember Jim Carrey was an HDS delivery driver, and he had this package that said fragile, and he was shaking it around, kicking it, bouncing it, and you heard glass shattering around, and he didn't protect it at all, right? I mean, he just kicked it, hit it, did whatever, and you could just hear that he was just destroying whatever was in there. So I was thinking of that, but then also I was thinking about my wife and I, we don't watch a whole lot of TV, but the ones, the programs that we do like are like hospital dramas. We watch The Resident and Chicago Hope. Anybody watch those? I love those. So if something medical happens, call me. I know I can figure it out. I know I can put the tube in. I got it all down. I've got several hours under my belt when it comes to hospital medical things. So in these dramas, they a lot of them, they do transplant surgeries, and these organs, man, they handle them with care. I mean, it's fragile. They protect it. I mean, they take it slow. I mean, they know what it's like. So I was thinking about that, and I thought, that's kind of the two contrasting ways that we handle our reputations. The first, like Jim Carrey, I don't even think about my reputation. I just come in, I'm going to do whatever I want. How many people have ever heard people say, that's who I am? If you don't like it, you can just take it, you can whatever. Or, you know, and you're just going to do whatever, step on any toe, step on any head, do whatever you want to do, be negative, complain, bellyache, just be that person. And we don't even think about how it affects our life. Put whatever we want on social media, just blast everything, just let everybody know what we're feeling because we have a right to do that. Or do we handle it like that organ transplant? You know, protecting it, how precious it is, because it's life for you. It's life for you. It'll bring life to you if you have a good one, or it can destroy you if you mishandle it. And so I just want us, you know, that's a great truth to remember, you know, to sit there and think about what's your reputation like. You know, and like I said, it's not, like Ed said, it's not about simply getting people to like you or to win a popularity contest. It's just having the reputation of doing something right every day. You know, maybe you're here and you think, man, I've already blew it. There's no way I can turn my life around. There's no way that I can have a better reputation. I can just tell you that there's absolutely a way. You know, in 1993, I met my wife at the time, and I asked her out on a date, and she said she would go with me, and I was really excited. We set a date up for like a couple days away, and she went back to work, and she was telling the people that she worked with that she had a date with Brent Reeder, and they said, run. They said, do not go out with him. He is wild. He's got a bad reputation, and you do not want to get mixed up with that. She was a single mom of a 3-year-old boy, and they said, you don't want to have anything to do with that situation. So she got cold feet. She was going to back out, and she decided to look my number up in the phone book. For you young people, there was a phone book at one time that had people's names, and this was pre-cell phone day. And the thing is, I had an unlisted number. Right? So she couldn't find me. She couldn't back out of the date, and I ended up picking her up, and she just fell head over heels in love with this wild boy with a bad reputation. But you know what? I don't have that bad reputation anymore. I just decided in life that I'm going to start making better decisions, and my life changed. And so, you know, you might have some things going on in your life right now. Maybe you've even been a bad reputation for Woody's Automotive. But all you got to do today is just decide that I'm going to start doing things right. I'm just going to start one day after another, just doing things right and just treating people right. So that's what I have today. Protect your reputation. It's a valuable truth, and I think we can all learn from it. Anybody got any closing thoughts? All right, if that's it.
My dad always said, inch by inch, everything's a cinch.
Inch by inch, everything's a cinch. There you go. Hey guys, have a great day. I appreciate you all, and thanks for the dialogue today.
Are we going to do the 2 lines? Everybody wearing green on this side, everybody that didn't work yet, and you're going to go by and pinch?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So, all right. Hey, guys, you guys are dismissed. I am going to have a word of prayer over here. So if anybody wants to stick around for the prayer, you're more than welcome to, or you can go back to work, whatever you need to do. So I appreciate you guys.